yes. Bones, yes. Bones, yes.
Jonna,
Yes. Jonna, yes.
Dabona,
Yes. Dabona, yes. Lina, yes. Lina, yes.
I'm Veronique Mensah. I've worked nationally and internationally as executive producer, festival director, curator, decolonial storyteller, cultural researcher, and as an educational theatre practitioner. My approach ranges from using theatre as a form of civic engagement and international cooperation to devising work with the homeless, parliamentarians, civil societies, cultural groups. I am also the co-founder and designer of Bonus Star Academy, a basic performance facilitation program under the Ministry of Basic Education, Arts and Culture. I'm also the founder and executive producer of VM Born Star Productions, where we specialize in using performance arts as a form of civic engagement and where we are committed to the multidisciplinary form of storytelling.
Lina, yes. Yes. Zero wings, yes. Yes. Toshi, yes.
Applied theatre is theatre that takes place out of the traditional theatre space. It takes place in communities, in prisons, in hospitals, nursing homes, and in schools. It is theatre for education and theatre for social change. We can think of applied theatre in the African context as playing. We have always played out a scenario, a scene, or a situation as African people. Storytelling is our oral tradition passed on from generation to generation. This is how we know and we learn about who we are and where we come from. This has taken place around the fire, in the marketplace, in the concentration camp, along the railway line, in prison, in parliament, and even in the madam's kitchen.
Happy Independence, Namibia. My name is, and I am live at the Independence Stadium today. We're celebrating Namibia's 31st Independence celebration. And as you can see, everybody's having a good time. Everybody is enjoying themselves. But before I continue, I just want to apologize for the poor quality at MPC because the money to fix these things are buried at James Hatikulipi's farm. So without further ado, we will continue and celebrate here. We see some people having a good time. Come.
A lot of artists have used applied theatre aesthetics in different work. I've seen it being used in civic engagement campaigns as well as in theatre production. In the Namibian context, applied theatre can be used to interrupt behavioral or social patterns that are either promoted or caused by social ills such as gender and sexual-based violence, teenage pregnancy, baby dumping, drug and alcohol abuse, to name but a few. This applied theatre allows the facilitator to performatively engage and transform, and interrupt these behavioral patterns. Once we interrupt and we engage these behavioral patterns, we open up space for engagement, for restructure of policy, of legislation, as well as of behavior.
Just to touch on that, I felt like we had very limited time to sort of portray a story, and such incredible things came out of that, maybe because we're not overthinking it or thinking about all the theater rules. It's like already in our bodies, and our ability to empathize with one another as human beings in an experience is just at the tip of our fingers, that we just experienced that now, even just watching the last piece. MC played a mom, and we all knew that she was aware, but chose to keep her head down and play a particular role, and held it very strongly throughout. And there's just so many real images that we could recognize without getting too caught up about what that prop is or having a perfect set. And that speaks to the heart of theater, I think, and its power.
Genocide, land, and child welfare. These are three burning issues in Namibia currently. I've tackled these three issues through applied theatre techniques such as newspaper theatre, forum theatre, as well as community theatre. You see, applied theatre allows us to transform. It allows us to imagine our futures. It allows us to take a look at the past and take a look at our role and understand our role in the world of today. Applied theatre is a storytelling process. It allows the audience to engage, partake, and contribute to the development of the story. You see, all of us are cultural citizens, and applied theatre allows us, it extends that branch to allow us to exercise our cultural citizenship. I don't want you to have too much time to overthink things. I want us to go, do, make, perform, move. You know, let's create, let's devise, let's create, let's move, let's engage, let's partake, let's have fun, let's unpack the hectic stories of our nation, but also let's have fun while telling our stories from different angles and about different things. My work allows, whether it be the audience or the actor, to engage the subject matter. Instead of being a product of awareness, you are allowed to engage and partake in the subject matter, instead of only receive what you need to be aware of.
Good evening, Namibia. My name is Mara Baumgartner, and here's the news at 8. Namibian comedian, host, and presenter Guru Milton, better known as OCX, says he has not been able to leave his apartment after allegedly being attacked by a security guard in Windhoek on Saturday. Milton says he was attacked by an Omega Security Services guard at around 9 on Saturday night at the Thrift Child Flats upon returning from a charity event in the city.
Het is Mark
Zeker.
Mark is één, Mark ik play hier zo.
Wat is dit?
10 jaar geleden die Mark
Wat is dit?
Wat is dit?
Handwerk hier zo, man.
The entertainer, who's well known on social media for his skits as a female domestic worker wearing a domestic worker's outfit, told the Namibian that when he arrived at Thrift Towers, he says the security guard on duty refused to let him in, claiming he does not live there.
Ik zal niet zo binnen gaan komen.
The guard stopped me at the door and told me I couldn't go inside, says Milton, noting that he took off his wig, hoping the guard would recognize him and realize he was wearing a costume.
I would definitely love to see the Namibian voter to be a audience member in theatre. I would also like to see more children and pensioners attend theatre. There is a lack of communication between these groups, and for the sustainability of our country, for the sustainability of our history and our narratives that we carry, be it in our homes, in our community, or just as a whole country, we need to engage these groups in order for our stories to live on.
I think everybody learned a great deal, even the ones that are used to theatre and have been in the theatre space for quite some time. I certainly did. And I also think that you are one of the most stellar facilitators that I have been a part of sharing a session with. It was very insightful. It was planned perfectly. It was, as Chomba also said, there was no insecurity felt throughout the room. That's how comfortable you had everybody that was here. So it was.
NDP 5 indicates a 2.2% growth for our industry, which is an achievable goal. But then the question comes to mind, how impactful is this 2.2%? Because at the end of the day, how is it impactful in the sense of growth and the professionalization of goods and services found within this industry? We also have the National Arts Council on the other end, which is the funding body of the government. But it in itself has vigorous and rigid funding structures that is a turn-off for a lot of artists, because artists would always say that I don't have the energy to go through all of that paperwork and everything that they require of me. Now, how do we grow and how do we survive as an industry apart from all of these goals that are set and all of these problems that we encounter? For me personally, I would say that we need to look at intersectional development and integration, because a lot of the resources that are assigned to our line ministry goes towards education, and understandably so. So the arts always fall short. But once we look outside of our line ministry, we can look at potential of developing intersectoral co-productions, you know. So I would advise or encourage young potential theatre makers, industry movers and shakers to register independent production companies. This will allow us to push our industry towards a private public partnership, you know, that we can develop and grow in, and that it can we can set a standard of resilience, a standard of professionalization, be it nationally, regionally, or internationally.